Thank you, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, I rise to respond to the proposed First Homeowners Grant Act. And while I understand the intent behind this bill and share the commitment to improving housing affordability, our economy and our population, this policy fails to address the real housing crisis in the Northern Territory: homelessness, lack of affordable rental options and limited social and public housing. Madam Speaker, this House must prioritise sustainable and effective solutions over quick fixes. While the First Homeowners Grant seeks to provide relief, we must ask ourselves whether it will achieve its intended outcome or simply push home ownership further out of reach for the very people it aims to help. We've heard a lot of information, from the member for Fong Lim in relation to research, and also some research from the member for Nightcliff. And I agree with the member for Fong Lim. We don't need cookie cutter solutions. We need to do what will work for our economy and for our community. But in your own words, calculated risk and hoping do not fill me with confidence. We also heard in this chamber today, I applaud your commitment to research, but we heard in this chamber today from one of the ministers, the wonderful thing about research, figures and statistics is that you can pretty much make them say whatever you want.
Point of order, Mr Speaker.
Point of order, Mr.
Standing Order 26, personal explanation. That's a misrepresentation and a conflation of two different sets of information.
No,
it absolutely is.
It's not a point of order.
No, not a point of order. Continue on.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. In the Northern Territory budget, we know we have limited funds, and this scheme is expected to cost Territorians over $200 million in the year that it runs. As we've noted, this is pretty much the same as the figure that we need to address domestic, family and sexual violence as a matter of urgency. There are far more effective ways to spend this money, not only in relation to that urgent issue, but also to address our housing needs in the Northern Territory. Decades of first home buyer grants and similar incentives have shown that these measures often do more harm than good. Instead of making housing more affordable, they inflate housing prices by enabling buyers to meet higher prices rather than addressing the underlying causes of housing inequality. And we've heard about lack of supply today. We've heard some of this information already on the floor from more than one speaker, but between 1965 and 2021, Australian government spent more than $38 billion on cash grants for first home buyers. Yet during this time, home ownership rates have steadily declined. The stark reality is that supporting people to pay higher house prices without tackling the root causes of housing inequality only worsens affordability. And while giving a bigger grant to people buying and building new homes seems like a step towards addressing supply, it risks creating bottlenecks in the construction sector, driving up the cost of building new homes. Australians saw this play out during the Morrison government's Home Builder program, where that initiative created a sudden surge of demand for builders and building materials. And since there were no more builders and materials magically created to meet that demand overnight, builders' limited time and limited resources became more valuable, pushing up the cost of both. And we've seen that as well here in the Northern Territory when there's been a push for rapid development. The way forward from here is not to double down on policies that history's shown are ineffective. Instead, as the member said, we need targeted, evidence-based solutions that directly address our issues here in the Northern Territory, including our issues of housing supply and affordability. Investing in social housing makes economic sense for our territory. Every dollar spent on building new social and public housing stimulates our local economy. It creates jobs and it reduces the long-term costs to our health and justice systems. By providing affordable, stable housing, we reduce pressure on emergency services, homelessness services and the health systems. We make our territory a more attractive place for people to come to and to stay in. The social return on this kind of investment is immense. I understand the desire to assist first home buyers and encourage home ownership, but we cannot ignore the broader picture. A $50,000 grant for new home buyers may temporarily boost the property market, but it does nothing to address the growing shortage of affordable houses for renters and those in need of social and public housing, and it risks inflating housing prices even further, making it harder for others to get a foot on the ladder while offering little to those who have no roof over their head right now. Madam Speaker, I encourage the government to prioritise long-term solutions to address the root cause of our housing crisis, not just quick fixes that benefit a select few. I believe by shifting our focus towards creating more affordable rental properties, social and public housing to meet the needs of the most vulnerable in our society, we can ensure that we build a strong, attractive economy here in the Northern Territory and that all Territorians, regardless of their income or circumstances, have access to a safe, secure and affordable place to live. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.